ground floor.
I didn't realize how good it was until one day I was recording with, I think, Beer Andriaanse. It was just like early. It was like episode 6 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a dog barking the entire time. And I was just like cringing and thinking this whole episode is going to go
It's not going to work,
I'm going to have to like phone him and say, not that he would have cared much if I didn't post it. But I then put it into my software and it's just a button. Just remove background noise. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to go through here and very painstakingly edit out this dog bark.
Every time. Yeah.
And when I went through, I couldn't find it. I was like, where the hell is this dog? And then I turned off the background noise, muffling stuff. And there was the dog again. I realized that, number one, this aquarium noise that we hear, that's, it's very constant.
Yeah, so that's easy to take out.
It removes it completely. Yeah. And also, I was listening to some other podcasts. Sometimes you would hear like a car hooting outside, or you would hear something. And I thought, I actually quite like that.
A bit of ambiance.
Yeah, I like it a little bit because it makes it feel, especially if you're listening to the podcast while you're driving or doing some other very mundane activity, it makes it feel a little bit more real, immersive. Yeah. It makes it feel,
it's not done just in a studio and this whole setup. Yeah. It makes it feel a bit more real and authentic. I guess. Yeah.
So at some point, hopefully, this podcast just does super, super well and makes a shitload of money and we start getting sponsors. And then I was actually thinking that at first I would communicate with some other content creators like yourself and a few other people I know. And we could say, okay, cool. We're all now medium successful. Let's say we're all making collectively like 5 to 10K a month from these podcasts.
Yeah.
Let's all, like 4 channels, let's go in together on a studio and on an editor. Because, you'll know from the YouTube, filming's the easy part.
Yeah.
Like filming's the...
Editing,
Editing kills you. Do you know how many times I've recorded a podcast episode? We record and it's good and I'm in good spirits. And then I procrastinate the editing for days.
Yeah.
To the point where some of the fans of the show, I'll have posted on Instagram and said, hey, I'm recording today with Arno.
Yeah.
And like 10 days later, they'll message me like, is that Arno episode ever coming out?
When's it coming out?
I'm working on it, guys.
And then the footage is on your laptop or your computer and you just don't touch it at all.
It's a 2-hour video that I'm doing.
Yeah, look, and I think it's because you're like, the first sort of draft of editing takes you 2 hours, but then you have to play back the video every time to get through it, which means if it's an hour long, it takes you about 2 hours to play back through it and edit. It can be a whole day of just putting it together.
It's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
I sometimes will start editing like just after I've eaten supper, so like let's say 5, and then I'll edit until I go to bed. Like I'll edit until 10.
Yeah.
And that'll be, so I would absolutely love, I think that this podcast and my ability to do more frequent episodes, I think would go so hand in hand with hiring a professional editor who could do these things.
Yeah.
Also, some big YouTube channels, like I don't actually anymore, and there's no real good reason for it, but I used to watch a lot of PewDiePie's videos.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, because I started watching him when I was like 13, 14, all through those years, through everything that happened. So to put on his videos now, just while I'm doing other things, it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It makes me feel
it's sort of a
nostalgic.
comfort thing. Yeah.
He puts out a new video every day, and I used to watch religiously every day. So it sort of makes me feel a little bit more in touch with that time or whatever. So he at some point got this camera because he used to only have one camera that was recording him while he was talking and Grammy. And at one point he switched to a secondary camera as well, which was next to him. And he had it set up so that without editing, he could look between the cameras and it would use face detection to see
No
which
way
one
to
he's
pick
looking
him up
at,
and then
that
cut to
one
that shot.
to that
No
one.
way.
Do you know how useful that would
Yeah.
be for me
Yeah.
if we could do it with talking?
Yes.
Like if we could link a camera to a mic. Obviously, I'm just using.
So it's like Zoom.
Exactly.
Like Zoom
Dude,
picks it up, yeah, and then immediately
would-
it switches to that camera.
I don't do the fancy editing that you do for your
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Mine just cut back and forth.
Yeah.
If I could get a software that could cut back and forth,
Sure.
it would be revolutionary.
I know
I do 4 episodes a week.
There's a part in or a setting in Premiere Pro where you can do multicam. So then you just press the button to switch to the other camera, and then it cuts it all together. So that makes it easier when you're shooting with 3 cameras. You just put everything in the timeline, sync it up, and you just press 1, 2, or 3 depending on which angle you want. But a studio setup would be great then because you can have live editing as well. You can have like an engineer live edit the whole show. So by the end of your recording, you can just upload it. And in that sense, if you can get like 5 or 6 creators to rent a space like that, but then create spaces as well for a photography studio and an editing suite and voiceover, whatever, you could build a pretty solid business out of it, I guess. But I'm just not sure about, while I was looking at this podcast thing and the idea of a business of a podcast studio, I just don't see a lot of people being able to spend like $2,000 to record one episode.
No, never.
If
you've got $2,000 to record an episode, you'll buy your own studio.
You'll just do it yourself, yeah. Look, it's an amazing space. It looks great. They've got a camera set up and everything going as well. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if South Africans are, like, everyone in America has a podcast and doing their thing, and it's a bit more accessible. But South Africans are sort of shy to actually take on something like that and commit to it and be okay with putting themselves out there. I feel like we're a bit more reserved in that sense, and that's why it seems like something like that. I'm not sure if it's going to work.
No, I don't know if I'd go into that as a business in terms of renting out creative spaces, because I feel like podcasts. So, for example, for me with backgrounds, my background is whatever is behind us.
Yeah.
So in the apartment, you've got the living room is behind you, and behind me is this wall, and that's just how it is. I don't want it to be like this forever.
Yeah.
Now with the Formula One show, we decided for the first time we were going to use a green screen because that was like, we'd never done that before. We'd never tried it, and we really wanted to have this live track map behind us. We wanted to be in front of the track map. So I went to a fabric store. I got like a big piece of green fabric, and we set it up, and it worked like a dream. Yeah. I mean, it was so easy, so ridiculously simple. And we had the software that was supposed to be able to remove people without a green screen. So the software that we downloaded was supposed to be able to like remove the background completely, but you didn't need a green screen. And we tried it.
Almost like that Zoom stuff as well, the backgrounds you can create. Yeah.
We tried it. It worked okay-ish. It was fine, but there would be glitching, and there's like an arm would constantly come in and out of frame or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like Freek, who's super white. I mean, Freek is so white. So his
proper Caucasian.
Yeah, his arms and hair would just disappear from the frame. So we then decided to switch to the green screen, and it was like night and day. It was just perfect. The green screen was incredible. So now,
by the way, no hate, Freek. No hate.
Freek's already upset. I don't think Freek listens anymore.
Yeah, he's not going to watch this. Yeah,
he's too busy being a lawyer extraordinaire.
Tough life.
I had a fan. Freek was my biggest fan, and then I lost him.
And now he's making the big racks.
Yeah, making the big bucks at the law firm. So I'm thinking about at some point investing in something, because this table's fine. Like, the table's perfect. I would have, because this is a pool table.
Yeah,
I would have preferred that it weren't as thick, because I kind of need to push the cover off the edge to be able to clip on these mics. I'd have preferred if it was a thinner table. But regardless, like, I can work with this. And even this cover, I can change. Yeah. I can go to builders or
just get a nice
piece of wood if I wanted to and make it. But the background is always going to be a little bit of a schlep. So I was thinking about maybe getting like 2 freestanding, my high school for like plays and stuff. They had these big freestanding wooden things that served as backgrounds that you could paint and so on. So I was thinking about maybe getting something like that and then buying, because I know that some houses I've been to, they buy this plastic molded brick. It's 3D, it's textured, and it looks like brick. It's stunning. So I was thinking of putting brick behind both people. So maybe that's something I'll look into as well. But with your videos, I've now been binge watching them again just to make sure that I can talk about them properly. You somehow, your background just disappears with the focus. It looks so brilliant. And I'm using iPhones. I don't have that luxury.
It's like proper camera equipment and stuff. I mean, the gear I use now, that's what I used to film like TV shows. And I've enhanced it quite a bit with lighting and it's a proper setup. Like if a lot of people are like, oh, how do you do that? And then it's difficult to explain because all of it costs like 150 grand to have all of that equipment. So it's not. And once again, the whole American thing is like, it's easy for Americans to buy that kind of setup just because they have more money. But that's been years in the making of like, bought my first proper camera and then years later got a better lens and got some sound and the lighting. I only bought myself a lighting kit like last year. And it's funny how I remember when I started out my first sort of YouTube videos, I was like dreaming of one day having all this equipment and being able to make proper videos. And by the time I had accumulated all of it, I didn't make any videos anymore. Like I didn't even get to it. And that's why this year I've been pushing hard of like making a point of filming a video every week, posting it and sort of going hard at YouTube. And it's a struggle because back in the day, I used to post a video and get like 800, maybe 1,000 views a day. Now, if I get 100 views on a video, that's like a successful day. So I feel it's almost discouraging. It's almost like, why am I doing this? But at the same time, I'm trying to be patient and like put in the work. It takes me 7 or 8 hours to make a video. But hopefully by the end of this year, like more people are watching, more people are engaged with it. But it's fun again. I'm enjoying it. It's nice to have all of that equipment now because it sort of opens up the creative freedom that I have because I've just got a lot more that I can do with it. But figuring out the content now and making sure that's good is the actual challenge and getting that right.
Yeah, I think on my side, so my channel had a very like slow build up over the course of like 6 months, a very slow and at that stage I was actually being quite consistent. Then I had this enormous spike where one video got 250,000 views and it was a massive thing. And then after that, a few videos did relatively well just because YouTube was now pushing my stuff. And now it's sort of gone back to the slow build. But this is sort of what you see, and that's always how I used to like keep myself motivated and encouraged. Was if you go to, pick your favorite YouTuber out of a hat and go find them on Google Trends or go check their historical subscriber count. You'll see like 5 years of basically no growth. You'll see years and years where
Mr. Beast was like making videos when he was 13.
And it didn't really take off till he was out of high school, So you see like years and years where it's like, okay, 80 views, okay, 100 views, okay, 105. Now we're back down to 90 for literally years. And it's consistent. And then they'll like hit their niche. And you'll find that sometimes it's because they got lucky. Like for example, the algorithm on YouTube changes all the time. So let's say, for example, this year they changed the algorithm to really reward consistently. Suddenly your videos are like number
popping
one.
Off,
because YouTube has now realized, okay, content creators who post very consistently are better for us in terms of engagement or whatever. Then the following year, it's about watch time and viewer retention, which is what it's mostly about now.
Probably is now, because they're running 4 or 5 ads per video.
So now, suddenly creators like Mr. Beast, creators like How Ridiculous, these guys who have channels where people watch until the last second, these guys are optimized. You know,
for the algorithm.
they are brilliant at keeping people watching all the way through. Now, you know, it's their time in the sun, and they will never lose their time in the sun because they now have these massive audiences. But you know, the algorithm will change again, and something else will be favored. But it makes me feel a little bit better to see that, you know, even the people who are extremely successful now had multiple years worth of grind. And you know
what sort of every now and then, finish.
Go ahead.
Every now, what catches me is just, so when I was about 21, I was posting quite a lot of YouTube videos, and that was sort of my thing, is I wanted to be a YouTuber. I started making videos when I was still at school with a good friend of mine, and we'd rack up like 1,000 views back then. That was 2012, 2013.
Shit, that's not bad.
Yeah,
YouTube
it was good for that time.
Yeah.
I wish I get that now. And that's the weird thing, is like, I'd have, let's say, 2,000 followers on Instagram, right? And like 3,000 on Facebook. And then I'd make this stupid video, horrible quality, whatever, but I posted. And the people were so loyal, like I'd get 500 views, maybe 1,000 views a day. Now my Instagram is sitting at 75,000 followers, which is, I never thought, like, just getting to 10K was like a big thing. I never thought I would have a K behind my followers. Now I've got 75,000 followers, right? I post a teaser on my story that gets like 6,000 views. Link clicks, 4.
Shit.
And obviously I understand, like, not everyone who follows me cares about that type of content. And I'm creating a lot of stuff that I enjoy. It's not necessarily for the people. And I want to keep it that way, just because I don't want to make stuff that I don't enjoy just so I can get viewership. But when you only get like 4 people out of 5,000 who want to watch this video, then obviously, like, there's something wrong there. There's something wrong either with the content, or maybe what my girlfriend's also been saying is, like, people don't expect this from you. They've seen you from this and they see you acting or whatever, but they don't know you as this YouTube content creator thing. It's going to take time for people to sort of adjust to that idea and realize, oh yeah, okay, I haven't actually watched this. Let me go check it out. And then it starts snowballing. So that's what I'm holding out for. But I'm a little disappointed that I never kept on with the YouTube thing.
I wonder where you'd be now.
It probably would have been a whole different situation.
It would have been your career now.
Yeah,
I mean, if you kept going with it.
And it was just all about, like, not having the what do you call it? The long-term vision of, like, okay, I'm only getting 500 views now, but maybe in a year I'll be able to get 5,000 views.
But the thing is, sometimes you go and you play around on YouTube, but especially when people start commenting on my videos, I'll notice channels that have a few subs that are commenting, and then I'll go click on them and I'll realize that, you know, these people have far fewer views than I do, and they continue making videos week after week after week. I mean, then they're getting like 60 views a video, 40 views a video, and then I feel so lazy. It's sort of segueing into this fantastic topic that a concept which has really hit me recently. So first I want to just talk about it in context of YouTube. So I noticed recently that I'm starting to see, it's nothing huge, but I can physically see the numbers on my stuff creeping up steadily. Okay. So what I'm talking about, and I first noticed this when we were doing the Formula One show. Okay. So we did, like, I think we did in total 6 or 7 episodes, because we sort of caught it at the end of the season. We decided to start doing it.
Yeah.
In fact, for a while we were like, let's only start in the 22 season. And then we thought, no, fuck it. We'll do that.
Luckily you started.
Yeah. We'll say, let's just do it. Let's just do it for the end of this season. So what I noticed, it's not that our concurrent viewers was spiking, like, one show we have 12, then we have 15, then we have 20, then we have 50. That's not what we were seeing. What we were seeing was a very slow but definitely noticeable increase in individuals who were loyally watching. So what I mean is, the first show we ever did, we had, like, let's say 16 viewers at any given time. And there was this one guy, Coconut Sam, who would comment on our stuff. Okay, so we'd be chatting with him all the time because he'd be posting and we'd be talking to him. Then the next time, it would be Coconut Sam plus another guy. Okay, so now we're all having a nice chat with these guys.
Yeah.
The next time, it's the two of them again. Then the following time, there's 3 people who are really engaging. The next time, there's 4. By the time we finished the show, that last stream, there were like 7 or 8 people who were regularly I knew that when there was Formula One, they came to watch us.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I realized that this is probably what organic growth looks like. And the YouTube's analytics are fantastic, but they don't let you see that because it doesn't tell you about the individuals.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't necessarily tell you how many of these viewers watched the past 5 also, whatever. So then I started to look at Buzzsprout, which is my podcast hosting app.
Okay.
And I started to realize that I could spot the same trend. Because what Buzzsprout does is it gives you a number. So it'll put all of your podcast episodes on a graph. And then you can select your metrics. And basically you can say how many downloads did each of these get in the first 7 days of their publishing. So now it's not just you're looking at a big graph full of numbers that are all out of context.
Yeah.
You can see how well they did in the first 7 days.
Okay.
And what that really is telling you is how many people are actually waiting for, seeing, and then downloading your podcast.
Yeah.
Because, people who download your podcast a month later are probably people who've just stumbled upon your channel and they go and download all the episodes and watch all of them, over the course of a few weeks.
Yeah.
But what you really want to be looking out for is those consistent, the people who are recurring listeners.
That's your community. Yeah.
Exactly, your community, your platform.
Yeah.
And I could see that perfect
like that building.
Growth.
Yeah.
Seeing that every episode I put out, I get 4 or 5 new people who are now fans of the show. And it's starting especially towards the end of last year, I started noticing it, like going out and people talk to me. Like people come up to me like, hey, I'm a big fan of the show, especially around ticks and so on. And then also people I know who I haven't spoken to in years. Usually you'll be walking around, let's say in Eastgate, which is the mall near here. You'll be walking around and you'll see someone who you last saw in high school and you weren't really friends. So you'll kind of just see them and keep going. You won't stop and say hello. Those people oftentimes, when they see me, will come up to me and be like, hey, dude, the podcast, I'm checking out the podcast, whatever. Which is just so thrilling. It's so motivating as well. So you start to realize, okay, I'm picking up people.
Yeah.
People are slowly joining this ride. But then there's another thing that I found in terms of both YouTube, podcasts, pretty much everything, even something as simple as Instagram. These platforms, whether it's built into the algorithm or whether it's just because of human nature, really, really reward consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, consistency is the name of the game.
I mean, any sort of video you watch about growing as a YouTuber, growing your Instagram, growing TikTok, Gary V, always, you need to be posting like Soundcard. It's always like, just post. Just make sure you post 7 pieces of content every single day. And it is the same with YouTube as well. And that's but the thing is, you need to take a long-term strategy with that and be okay with that because it's difficult.
Pick a sustainable goal.
Yeah, because it's difficult so now you've been doing it for a month, right? You've been posting 3 videos every single day. You not focusing on anything else, and it's just not happening. And I've never been good with that. It's like I need instant gratification just because most of my life, things have happened pretty fast for me. It's like I'll try and learn a new skill, I'll dedicate a lot of time to it, and I'll get it right. But I have control over. You can learn guitar in a month and be fairly adequate with that. YouTube, you don't have any guarantees.
Nope.
Unless you go out and do some big booty pranks or whatever, gold digger pranks, whatever. You just don't have any say in that. And it's a difficult thing. And one of my biggest goals this year is just regardless of the numbers, I still look at it like every day I'll go check, are the views climbing up a bit? Is there a difference? Just so I know what's sort of working, what's not working. but I'm trying to not let that affect me at all.
Yeah.
When I post something on Instagram now, I don't look at I'll look at the comments, but I don't care about the likes anymore. Where I used to be very conscious of like, okay, if this is not doing well, it's probably not something I should post. I've taken a stance of like, let me just put out the stuff that I want to. Somewhere along the way, the right people will find the content.
Yeah.
And what I've found already I've posted 3 videos this year. The people that have contacted me about the videos are people I would never expect to see it. Never. I mean, from the videos, I've now gained a mentor. Older guy who's in business. I've always looked up to him. He reached out to me. He's like, listen, I want to help you out with a couple of things. Let's have a chat every week, check in. And that was my wish, is just so that the right people will actually see it. And that's been happening. So it is working. It is working in that sense. But if you want to build something like a career off of YouTube, eventually the numbers need to add up as well, and the numbers need to be there. So first step was good, getting the right people to see it, they enjoy it. Now it's just like finding out how to build the community, get people engaged, and make the right content that I enjoy, but that other people want to watch as well. But the good thing with that is like being consistent. You can push out a new video every week, test it out. You don't have the pressure of having 1 million subscribers and every video needs to hit.
Yeah.
This is a good time to just experiment, see what people like, what do you like, and what is sustainable as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's exactly that thing about like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That Wayne Gretzky quote is
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Yes. Yeah, I understood that reference. But yeah, so I mean, it's kind of difficult because you put out a bunch of videos. So for example, I've now just put out this video with Quena. Okay, so Quena and I, his podcast, I've done 3 episodes with him, and they always get so much engagement.
Yeah,
like I love. When people talk to me about the podcast, they talk to me about the Quena episode.
Yeah.
Like they love it. And the reason is because Quena and I, we start talking about serious things for like 10 minutes, and then we just start shooting the shit for 2 hours. And we're just trying to make each other laugh and talk about dumb stuff. And theoretically, in terms of prepped and so on, it's my lowest like quality podcast.
Okay.
Because I'm not doing research for the Quena episodes. I'm not prepping anything. Quena, even though Quena is like an expert in terms of political stuff, we're not talking about that. Like, so it's not riffing, it's not like I'm sitting down with Quena and getting the core of this guy's message out of there.
Yeah.
He's just a mate, and we're talking shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've done a few episodes, and people are like, it's kind of weird because my podcast isn't that big. When Quena and I do an episode, it feels like it's big.
Okay.
Because then people who I've never met in my life are posting on their Instagram about my podcast and tagging me. And like people send me DMs from out of nowhere just saying, massive fan of the show, love the last episode. So I reached out to Quena a few weeks ago, said to him, listen, man, last year was a shit show. I was posting like 3 podcasts in 1 month. Then I'd have nothing. 2 months of nothing. Yeah. Then 1 episode. Then a month of nothing. Then 3. Then 4. Then zilch for 3 months. And it was partially because of a really deep-rooted problem I have within myself, which I'll talk about just now. But, it was also because I wasn't committing to a routine or a schedule or anything. And it wasn't that I was far too busy. I mean, at the end of the year, I was doing final exams and all that. But it's not that I was way too busy to be doing these podcasts. I just wasn't doing it right.
Yeah.
So I phoned Quena and I said, listen, man, I have this goal. I want to put out an episode every week for the whole year. Okay? That's my goal. I want to start in like the 3rd week of Jan, and I want to do an episode a week for the entire year. So it's like 50 odd episodes, not including the Formula 1 show.
Yeah.
Okay. So I said to him, I can't do this based on just guests that I'm inviting on the show.
Yeah.
Because then I'm very much at the mercy of other people's schedules. And especially when I'm dealing with actors and activists and so on. People are traveling all the time. People will just move.
And they'll drop you on the day.
Exactly. They'll drop you on the day. I mean, that sort of thing, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I said, I know you come down to Joburg every Wednesday for football because he plays for this like little football league that he really enjoys. I said, let's do a show an hour long every second week, just you and me, okay? And we're gonna chat shit about random stuff that we've seen. We recorded the first one last week. It came out yesterday. I don't think I've ever had that much fun recording a podcast episode, and I honestly think that it's the best episode I've ever done. In terms of how much fun it would be to listen to. Yeah. Like if I were someone else and I wanted to listen to an episode of my own podcast, that's the episode I would pick. Okay. Because I created an episode of the podcast that is like the podcasts I listen to separately. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I created the kind of thing I like to consume, which it felt so easy and so fun, and it was just brilliant. So we're now going to do that every second week. However, I went and posted that on YouTube a day ago. I think it's gotten like 65 views in a day, which is just terribly low compared to many of my other things. Yeah. But I don't care. Like I loved it. It was great, and I hope that over time, the people who are used to my other content, which is like a bit more difficult conversations, a bit that. Hopefully, one of them one day will click on one of the Quena episodes accidentally and have a great time.
How do you feel about that? Is like you said it earlier about niching down. And I know it's always been said, like, you need to find your niche and you need to find your gap in the market and whatever. The thing I love about me, right, is that I've never been able to fit into just one sort of box.
Oh, that's
I like so many different things. Yeah. Like I like playing video games, but at the same time I love playing sports as well. Okay? I'm an actor, but I love playing touch rugby on a Monday night as well. I love playing guitar and I love like heavy alternative music, but I can socky on Afrikaans music as well. Like I like to taste different things. And the idea of having to fit into a niche or make niche content is, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to at all. And when I'm like planning content of what's my next video gonna be, I find myself constantly being reminded of like, no, but you need to find something that people, and this. And I'm not sure if it's a good idea to just stick with my gut and just to make the stuff that I want to make. 1 week I'll be talking about motivational stuff that I found useful in my life, my daily routine or whatever. The next week I maybe want to do like a cooking video. One of the things I want to do is like to bake a cheesecake this year. Yeah. Sounds silly, but I've never baked a cheesecake.
Yeah, we've been playing with this idea of doing a show called Feed Freek.
Oh,
where we do a recurring YouTube video where we cook and then Freek judges the food.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I remember when I started the podcast for the first time, I'd already done a bunch of episodes and it was going really well.
Yeah.
And I went one day, Tasita and I, one of our favorite couple activities is we'll go to a bookstore, like exclusive books, and we'll just spend like 3 hours in there.
Oh, wow.
Like we'll browse through the whole store, we'll pick up a book, we'll go sit down and read a few together, and it's just this wonderful, peaceful time. And she brings me this book called like How to Make a Successful Podcast or something. She's like, look at this. She gave it to me. So I'm leafing through this book, and one of the first tips is like number 1 or number 2. It says, pick a topic. Like pick a topic that, because you're not going to be able to find an audience if you don't pick a topic. And I thought to myself, like, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
Like imagine I now decided that I'm going to only talk to my guests about
real estate.
Real estate. Yeah. Or let's say, even something general like motivational content. Let's say I'm gonna try and find people who've lived difficult lives and who've overcome great things, and that's all we're ever gonna talk about is motivational stories about. That's boring, dude. Like I don't want to do that.
It's fun for a bit. Yeah.
Exactly. I want people to find the podcast and to enjoy it and to know that the content that I'm creating is going to be, sometimes fun, sometimes serious.
Yeah.
Remember, there's only one thing that connects the show with Quena, this show, and the F1 show. And that's me.
Yeah.
If people subscribe to this podcast, it must be because they enjoy my content.
Exactly, yeah.
So they need to, I'm hoping that over time, the content that my channel, my platform will become known for is my blend of being able to do both some fun stuff, some jokes, and then also serious things when it's necessary.
I had this guy message me on Instagram the other day. So I start posting my videos and most of it's been, I wouldn't say necessarily motivational content. It's just me sort of talking out loud, thinking out loud. But it has a very sort of like wellness element to it, right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm just saying, listen, this is what I've been doing and I'm feeling good, right?
Yeah, your channel reminds me, do you know the YouTube channel Better Ideas?
No, I haven't
There's this
seen
channel, there's this bald guy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I do.
he creates those beautiful cinematic.
Yeah.
I sort of
I've
get
seen
that
those.
feel from your videos as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
But now I'm posting these videos, I'm posting a couple of teasers, but people who know my Instagram know like half of my content is humor, it's comedy, it's silly stuff. And this guy who's been following me for years, he sends me a message. He's like, you should stop trying so hard and do these silly stuff. Your serious side is a lot better. Okay. What if it's just not for you?
Yeah.
What if it just isn't for you? Because we're not just one-dimensional, right? People can be different things, and that's a good thing. Is like you need to get people, like you said, is you need to get people subscribed to you and engaged with you, and then they can follow the different content around and enjoy it. And I guess it's in terms of podcasting, like Joe Rogan. I mean, every episode he's got a guest in a whole different
Joe Rogan's
sphere.
Podcast about?
I don't know what it's about.
It's the most successful podcast in the
world.
planet.
Yeah.
What's it about?
But
no one knows
it's because people invest in him, they care about, and you shouldn't just use that as an example. But the problem is, like, now you start your podcast, you start a real estate podcast, using that example again. So now you do that for a year, and you're passionate about real estate. But as the year goes on, you start caring about, I don't know, fitness, right? So are you now not allowed to do that anymore? So if you've set it up from the beginning, like, people need to expect the unexpected. It's like, it's going to be a whole host of different things. It's going to be a bit of real estate. It's going to be a bit of this. It's going to be maybe some gold digger booty pranks or whatever in between. And maybe I'm just trying to convince myself at the moment. But having more of a variety to it just opens up the world. Yeah. And maybe you're not getting those numbers at the beginning. But as you go on, you can put out anything. And the people who care about you, they're going to watch it, they're going to support it, and care about it.
Yeah. I realized recently I was watching some channel where someone was talking about this sort of thing. And he was saying that one of the most difficult things to do on YouTube is to change your channel.
You can't.
So because even if you're a channel with millions of subscribers, when you change your content, it will almost be like you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's extremely difficult. And this video is just like doing an analysis of YouTubers who've changed their channel's themes over time and shown how they've managed to create a lot of success because you pick people up along lots of different routes.
Yeah.
If you're doing like, I'm live streaming Fortnite or Minecraft, twice a week, and I'm getting a bunch of subscribers from that. And then on Wednesdays, I'm doing a sit down with a local guy who talks about fitness, and we're talking about that. You're picking up some people from that and so on. When you start to want to pivot your channel, once you're already a little bit in it,
established,
it becomes very difficult because suddenly you're posting things, they're not getting any views, and you're thinking, people clearly hate this. And I think that...
And you get discouraged.
You get very discouraged. I mean, the bulk, I'd say easily... Let's say of my, I think I have like 4,500 subscribers. I think easily 3,000 of them are subscribed to me because they expect me to be doing like edgy political debate content. Okay? Because that's how they found me.
Yeah.
That's what they saw.
Yeah.
That's what they want. and that's why they subscribe to me.
I think we've spoken about this before as well. It's with me. So I mean, when Blood and Water season 2 came out, right? Within a week or two, I gained about 25,000 followers, right? That just happens, drops, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, people come there straight because of the show. Nothing else. It's not because I posted some amazing funny video and now they came up. So now, let's say out of the 75,000 followers, 55 only care about Blood and Water and my acting. And now I post this video about my daily routine and trying to talk about how I'm trying to be productive. I see how no one really cares about that, and I'm sort of forcing it onto people. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing necessarily, because what I'm trying to do is in that community, in that space of people, is find the ones. It's maybe only going to be like 3% of that audience, but the ones who gravitate towards that and care about that.
So as your friend, let me ask you this question: did you enjoy that video? The daily routine one. You enjoyed it. You've had a good time.
Yeah.
Then don't stop. Don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly...
I've been finding joy in it. I've been finding a lot of joy in it.
So I was talking earlier, I was sort of hinting towards this. So I have a big problem with, I call it following through, right? Commitment, I think, would be the more accurate term. But I've always called it following through, which is that if I say I'm going to do a thing, oftentimes that thing doesn't happen. And it kills me because I feel like in my idea, my picture in my head of a good man is dependable and reliable. And I haven't been dependable and reliable.
Same.
And I pick up on it in a lot of spaces, not only to promises that I make to myself, but also to promises that I make to others.
Yeah.
Especially, and the worst that it gets me is when I make a promise to my girlfriend
and you don't fulfill.
and I don't keep it. And I'm not talking about stupid stuff like, oh, I promise you won't cheat on me. No, I promise. I'm talking about like very small, like when Tasita's been here let's say she's been here for 4 days. And some of her laundry is in her little laundry basket. Then she goes home for a weekend, and she's going to come back on Monday. She'll tell me on the Friday,
wash it.
Listen, would you just mind throwing my laundry through the laundry machine? Because I'm coming on Monday. I'm not going to bring any clothes.
Yeah.
Then I say, 100%, no problem. Got it. Easy.
Yeah.
And then I forget about it. Like instantly, it's gone. I said yes, and then I forgot. And then she comes back on Monday. And she says, "Hey, did you do the laundry?" And then I think, I am the worst.
Yeah.
Like I immediately just feel so guilty for letting this person down. Who
feel like a disappointment.
I feel like I've disappointed them. And the worst part, Tasita is just the most kind, soft.
She'll let it slide, but you know you messed up.
She won't yell at me. She won't become upset. She won't do anything, but I'll see in her face.
Yeah.
And
but you just know as well. Exactly. You just know you weren't doing right just now.
I can see in her face that she's thinking something along the lines of, I don't know why I actually ever asked, because it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it breaks me to see that. So, so that was like, I was watching your New Year's resolution video when it came out, and that was a thing where it struck a chord with me because I realized that we have a similar thing. Is I didn't set up this elaborate list of New Year's resolutions this year because I know that I have good ideas.
Yeah. And
I know that had I followed through with the things that I decided to do years ago, I could have been a lot further along in a lot of ways, And I decided this year that I'm going to follow through on things. Yeah. Like that's it. That's just the theme for this year is following through.
You'll hear me say in a couple of videos just saying like, to do the things that I said I would do. Yes. I've repeated it, I think, in 2 or 3 of the videos.
I've seen all of your videos. I've watched every video you've ever put
And that's
out.
my intention. That's my...
Yeah. It's... So then, now I have this idea in my head already, like halfway through December. I was thinking about this following through. And I was then watching a different podcast. And if I'm not mistaken, it was David Goggins who said this, but it was I could be wrong.
Who's that? Is that the
Is that Marine who's like all about discipline?
Yes, yeah. Bold guy.
Yeah. So very fit. So he was talking about. David Goggins said this, but I was watching something someone else had said about it, and they explained it very badly. But I'm going to try now. It still struck a chord with me, so I'm going to try and explain it well. So let's say you have this goal, right? And you say, I want to be shredded. Like I want to, by the time next summer comes around, I want to be fit. I want to look good.
Mayo shredded sandwich.
Exactly. I want to be shredded to the gills. I want to take my shirt off at a pool
to the gills.
and feel great. I want to just not be insecure about myself.
Yeah.
And you give yourself a healthy amount of time. So let's say you give yourself like 6 months. You're like, I'm going to take all winter and I'm going to get fit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's in this goal. But what people don't realize, and when I say people, I very much include myself, is that this goal, this idea you have, is only going to feel like the end result 1% of the time. Like when I think I'm going to get fit, the percentage of that journey, which is going to be me being and feeling fit, is going to be the last 1%. Yeah. What that means is that 99% of that journey is not going to feel that way at all. 99% of the journey is going to feel like the things that I'm doing to get there. Okay? And the whole point of this is to fall in love with the process rather than to aspire towards this result.
Yeah.
So for example, I've now started swimming again. Okay? Swimming was something I did when I was a kid. I was relatively good at it. Michael, my brother, was better at it than I was. And I swam like professionally. Like I was swimming training for races. I went and competed and so on for years. Then when I got to high school, I started playing hockey. So I stopped swimming then. Really enjoyed hockey. All throughout high school, was still very fit and good. And then school ended, hockey ended, and I got a bit tubby. Okay. So now the other day I'm thinking, okay, I want to swim because I want to get fit again. I miss the way I felt in high school. I want to be fit and I want to feel good. And I then got some swimming stuff and got that together and I went swimming. And I was pushing myself really hard. And I thought to myself, I am genuinely enjoying this. Like, this is a really good time.
It's fun.
I'm having a great time right now. The water's nice and warm. I was in the sauna earlier. That was really nice and therapeutic. Like, this whole experience of going and swimming, fantastic. Then I watched that video, which is talking about how you need to enjoy not the body, but the swimming.
Yeah.
Don't enjoy the massive cool photo you can post on Instagram. Enjoy the exercise.
Yeah.
So it really struck a chord with me because what I then realized was that this theory is applicable for pretty much anything that you want to achieve in your life. If you say, I want to be the guy who wakes up at 5 every morning, which I know you've now been doing, it's not going to feel like that cool, smug feeling of, I do wake up at 5.
It sucks.
It's going to feel like waking up at 5
Most mornings, and I've realized this over the past 3 weeks, I think only about 2 of the mornings I woke up feeling like fresh, got out of bed and had a great start to the morning.
So what does that tell you? Is that most of the time, it's not going to feel like the work. It's going to feel like the work.
Making the decision to still get out of bed, that changes everything.
Exactly.
Because 5 minutes after doing that, getting out of bed, immediately I start feeling better. And then everything opens up. And then I start to feel, okay, this is actually a good thing. But the waking up, the physically getting out of bed at 5 a.m., it sucks. It's really not fun.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing. There'll be people listening. And get fit is probably the biggest, the most common abandoned goal ever. Because everyone wants to be fitter all the time. I think there's a very small percentage of the population who goes, I'm actually all right. Know where I am. Everyone wants to be fit. Everyone wants to look better. And then also other things like, for example, studying for great marks or working for a successful business or whatever. if you're working towards a successful business, it's very rarely going to feel like being a successful business owner.
Yeah.
What it's going to feel like is the late nights and the early mornings and the initiative and designing things and going out. And so the point is to try and forget about the goal. You know, not saying now that the goal isn't important, but the goal isn't what you're doing.
Yeah.
The goal is the end result, but it's not what you're going to be doing. Focus on what you're doing. So when you go swimming, enjoy the swimming. You know, enjoy it for what it is. And I had to try and trick my brain a little bit because I'm sort of into this whole thing of like brain hacking and so on. That was how I've told you before. There was a long period 2 years ago where I woke up at 5 every morning. Okay, long period, like several months, and I felt great, and I wish I could be there again. And how I did it was through this thing that I read about online, which is called method of association, which is basically that you should not touch your bed for anything other than sleep. Like once you touch that bed, your only goal is to sleep. There's no phones in bed. There's nothing like that. You're not going in to nap in the middle of the day. You're not laying in bed longer in the morning and checking your emails or whatever.
Get up.
Bed is for sleep only. And over a few weeks, it started to take effect. And what would happen was I would be completely fine, you know, relatively energized and so on. Go at 9, touch that bed, and I'm out. It's like that's it. My brain associates the bed with sleep, and as soon as I touch it, it's like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do now. This is lights out. Okay. So now I was like, okay, let me see if I can extend this to swimming as well. Because swimming is quite hard. I mean, even though it's pleasant, I'm pushing myself, so it's difficult. So I was thinking, what if I associated the gym with the sauna beforehand? 10 minutes in the sauna, which I love. It's great. So now what I did was, every time I thought about gym, I would make a conscious effort to think about the sauna. Okay? So it's like gym, sauna, gym, sauna, gym, sauna. And over time, these two things became completely interlinked. Now, about a month later, I am super pumped to go to the gym every
because
day.
You're gonna get that
because
sauna
I'm going to go to the
afterwards.
sauna, which is just fantastic. Okay? So I think, okay, I'm going to go. I'm so excited because I'm going to go do the sauna, put all my stuff in a bag, go. And when I'm sitting in the sauna, then I'm there. I've got my swim kit on. I'm sitting. I'm having a great time. And then I think, right, now I'm in the right mental space. Let's go club 45 minutes hard swimming, you know? And now I'm not skipping days. I'm doing exceptionally well. I'm swimming. I'm losing weight. I'm feeling a bit more toned and feeling fitter and so on. And now I've almost forgotten or almost, you know, that end goal of me thinking I'm going to be shredded and take cool photos and Tasita's going to think I'm hot. These are no longer as important. Because now what I'm realizing is that this swimming is good for me. I'm having this swimming today is good for today. And I'm having a good time. It's good for how I feel, and I'm enjoying this. I don't want to miss out on this. And I honestly think that's the right way to go. So now to put that back to YouTube, that's exactly why I would say, you know, make the videos you love. Even if you're getting 200 views, 300 views, or not even. I mean, my Queen episode is like 65 views. Even if you're getting a handful of views, it doesn't matter. Do what you enjoy. I mean, trust the process, and don't set yourself up to have to do something that you are going to eventually end up resenting and hating. Exactly like this whole political activist debate thing. I debated Zuleika. It was a good time. I don't want to do that always. Okay, it would get exhausting. If I were doing that every single week, I'm not Jordan Peterson. I don't want to be Jordan Peterson. That's not what I want to do. Okay, the subscribers, a lot of them, the bulk of them on my channel are here because that's what they want to see. I could give them what they want for months, maybe. You know, I could reach out. I could try and challenge some people.
That's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. What is sustainable is making videos I enjoy. If I make videos I enjoy, which is videos like this, where I'm sitting across from my mate, we're just having a chat. Sitting across from Quena, we're just shooting the shit. That I can do every week for the whole year. Something, you know, trying to mold myself around around what this audience has arrived for is going to end up killing me. I'm not going to like it. And it's exactly like I did the Zuleika video. It got super successful. And one of the comments on the video was from someone who had been watching my videos the entire time.
Yeah.
And he said, "Congratulations for this video, man. So glad it's successful. I really hope that this doesn't change the way that you make your content."
Oh, cool.
And he gave this long explanation where he was like, I know it can be tempting to try and give this audience what they want because this audience is going to bring success and money and so on. But stay the course, keep doing what you want to do, and don't now make this a political debate channel because that's not what you want. And he was right. And that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. Just on that point of like, I guess, brain hacking and the end result. I saw this thing about, let's say your goal for the year is to run a marathon at the end of the year. You set that intention of like, cool, that's what I want to do. But first, you need to become a marathon runner.
Yeah.
You don't just go run it. You need to become a marathon runner. And what do marathon runners do every day is they go run. They go train. Same with the swimming. If you want to go swim the mile or whatever, you need to become a swimmer first. So every day that should be the action. And the same with the YouTube thing is now I've had to decide I'm committing to this. If my goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, that's my goal, but I need to become a YouTuber. And what do? They make videos every single week. So I've scheduled out every Wednesday is now my content creation day, whereas that's all I do. And obviously it's not like, I don't think everyone can do that because maybe you've got a job, you've got other priorities, so you'll need to find other time. But my Wednesdays now are dedicated to Tuesday night. I plan out the video, what exactly I want to do, and I spend the whole Wednesday on doing that. And that gets me into that frame of mind of like, I'm becoming a YouTuber now. Yeah. And with that eventually will come the people, the views, the whatever, the audience with that. But focusing on the steps towards that is sort of the game changer for me. And something that I've always struggled with is, you spoke about the finishing things and committing to things, is you'll start out, you'll set the goal of getting to 10,000 subscribers. And just the thought of that is it's scary. And just thinking about the success of that makes it scary, but also how am I going to get, I'm on 100 subscribers now, how am I going to get there? And to just take it back to like, okay, where am I now and what can I do right now that's going to sort of get me closer to being a YouTuber? And that's just continue creating your content and take it one step at a time, because you have no control over that. It's like getting to 10,000 subscribers, I have no control over that. Creating content and creating stuff that I enjoy, that I have control over. So let me get into that right now and make sure that is my main focus. And then hopefully, organically, if you do the work and you make sure you still work at that goal, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Do you? So this is a big thing for me when it comes to pretty much anything uncomfortable. Exercise, waking up early, eating healthily, blah blah blah. I have this voice in my head that is, he's basically the negotiator. And what happens is I'll go and I'll start exercising, or I'll get to the gym. So let's say I get to the gym now, and I've got this sandwich because I want to eat right before I train. So I go and I sit by the gym and I start eating, and I know I'm going to train when I'm done. Then this voice pipes up in the back and it goes, you did train yesterday. It's not,
it's that complacency.
It's that voice. It's like, it's not really gonna it's not gonna make a difference if you just don't train today. I mean, you're at the gym, you're having a good time. Why ruin this now? Let's just go home after this. Or it'll say, oh, there's something else you wanted to do in the mall. Go do that first. Just go do that first. Or when you wake up early, then you're like, oh, it's 6. Okay, I got to be up. And then that voice goes, you don't have anything to do until 8. There's no reason for you to wake up now. If you set a half-hour timer on your phone, you'll get up after half an hour. You'll be fine. That voice okay, it's a big problem for me, because I will always try to convince myself to not do the difficult thing. So then I watched this podcast with David Goggins, and he uses this term to highlight that. He calls it your inner bitch. Okay, says you got to conquer that inner bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, and he says that when you wake up in the morning, and that inner bitch says there's no reason for you to be waking up this early in the morning. Your first appointment is at 9. Surely you can lay in today. You need to culture a new voice of discipline, which is like the drill sergeant in your head that says, this is what we do
now.
This is what we do now.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's the same. So I've now, discipline is a big thing for me. So what I've started doing, this is such a stupid example, but it's like, it's mental training. I see it as, right? So the gym has 2 saunas. One is lovely, pleasant, wet sauna. Okay?
Yeah.
It's nice. I love it. I can sit in there forever.
Steam room.
The other one is the dry sauna.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hell on earth. By minute 8, I wish I was dead. Okay? It's the worst. I hate being in there. But I do it every day. 10 minutes. Okay? And I was talking to someone recently, and I said, yeah, so I do this dry sauna every day, 10 minutes. But it's terrible. And they go, well, why do you do it? And I say, because after about 5 minutes, the door's there. Like, I can leave. No one's going to judge me. No one's going to know how long I've been in here.
Yeah.
No one's going to care. I'm going to know. And I sit in that sauna for the full 10 minutes because that is how I I get in the gym, I swim to train my body. That hot sauna is how I train my mind.
Yeah.
I get in there, I sit down, and when that negotiating brain pipes up at 6 to 7 minutes and says, listen, you are hot, you've done this, you've been in the sauna, you don't need to do 3 more minutes, it's not necessary. Yeah. Then I say, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Just get it done.
We're going to finish this.
Yeah.
And sometimes that negotiation back and forth process in my head takes so long that by the time I'm done, then my 10 minutes are up.
Over,
and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So what I've now also done is I've started, I made myself a promise that I've kept thus far, which is whenever that negotiating voice pipes up and says, we don't need to go train today, we don't need to go swimming today, that just in of itself is the moment where I will lock it in. Like there's no getting out of this anymore, because that voice is now spoken up, which means that there's something there that I now need to beat. And I can't let that voice win.
Yeah.
So the second I'm sitting here, I'm a bit tired, I've just watched an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I've had a long day, and it's like, okay, one more episode, it's 3 o'clock, should I go gym? And then the second, I know what that voice feels like. I know what it sounds like. The second I feel it going, you don't need to go gym. Like, that's it. That's over. I am going to go gym today. That's the end of it. There's no further discussion to be had. As soon as that voice pipes up, I know it's for the wrong reasons. Sometimes when I feel sore and I think I should take a rest day, that feels different.
That's the cue. Yeah.
It feels different. It's coming from a different place, because that's coming from a place of well-being, and I know the difference.
Yeah.
I can hear the lazy voice, and I can distinct, I can like separate it from the voice that's just looking out for me and going, okay, you can't swim 6 days in a row with no rest. You're training the same muscles every day. It
relates back to like when you said about
Sorry,
the
do you
laundry.
want a refill on this?
No,
sure.
The laundry thing. So what I've been trying to do this year is, as soon as there's something like that, like if someone sends me a message like, can you check this out? I've decided to do it right now. Because that delay of like 5 minutes or whatever is where that voice starts coming in, and you need to negotiate a whole bunch of things all of a sudden, and you don't get to it. And I'm the same. Even with dishes, is when I'm done eating something, I wash that plate immediately, because otherwise, if I leave it for longer than 5 minutes, I'm only going to do it in 2 days.
Yeah,
and
I get you.
And that's the same thing. As soon as that voice comes up, that's your cue. So when they talk about habits, they say there's sort of a cycle that it goes through. There's a cue, then there's a routine, there's a reward, and then you continue. So let's say you get home at night, you're hungry. That's your cue. Your body says you're hungry. Your routine used to be just order something on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Your reward is the McDonald's chips that gives you some
Chicken
kind
Nando's.
of or that.
Nando's so good.
So the cue then is when you feel like you need to start moving again, your mind already says, "No, man, it's fine, you're cool."
Yeah.
Because
Don't
our
worry about
bodies want to conserve energy as
Yeah.
much as possible. Your cue is like, "No, I'm fine. Your routine then is to have that negotiation and do nothing. The reward is you watching TV, you scrolling through Instagram, that dopamine you get. If you just change the routine, the reward changes, it gets better, and you change that whole cycle, you change your habits. But for that to happen it takes quite a long time because you've trained your mind and your body to be complacent with, and me as well. If I feel like, oh, yes, I had a good session yesterday, that's my cue. My routine is, yeah, take it easy,
Yeah.
Let's look after ourselves. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's not saving yourself. It's like, get that cue and right now, pack your bag,
Stop
go
it
to
in
the
its
gym,
tracks.
just get it done. You always feel better afterward. That's the reward, is that you always feel better.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can say, listen, I actually did what I said I was going to do. I had it on, I need to train 5 times a week. I did it. It's done.
Yeah.
But all of that takes... The thing I've learned this year is I used to wait for motivation to come. I thought if I do the right things, I'll have the motivation to do it. 90% of the time, I don't have the motivation.
Yeah, motivation is...
You have the motivation for a day or two. Beginning of the year, you have
Yeah.
it because, new year, new me. That doesn't last. Discipline.
Exactly.
Discipline. And I've never had discipline, but now it's all about... As soon as that voice comes up, I hear that voice of what's it, David Goggin. This is what we do now. This is
The drill
discipline.
sergeant,
It's like, don't let your mind take over who you are. Don't let it control you.
But it's genuine. Like, you can feel... Big Mouth. I think we've spoken about Big Mouth before. Have you watched it on Netflix? So Big Mouth, fantastic. I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's so good. So Big Mouth is about this group of prepubescent teenagers who are going through puberty, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very raunchy show. Love it. I love that kind of comedy and humor. And what they've done, it's so brilliant. They've taken certain external like emotional factors and they've turned them into characters. Okay? So for example, there's a girl who has depressive tendencies. Okay, and whenever she begins to become depressive, this massive purple cat, which is the depression cat, comes and envelops her and chokes her and lays on top of her so that she can't move.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's this show's way of showing depression sweeping in and just taking over and enveloping her completely, and she's constricted. She can't escape. Okay. Then there's another thing called the shame wizard. Okay, so the shame wizard is this terribly mean wizard who, whenever there's this one guy who feels really bad because he has a small penis. Okay, so whenever he's in the gym locker room getting dressed with everyone else, in swoops the shame wizard and starts taunting him and telling him, they're all looking at you, everyone knows you have a little dick, and makes you feel bad. And then there's now other things as well. So there's the love bug, which is this super peppy, happy little insect that rocks up whenever people are feeling in love, and he tells them good, nice things and so on. So, really, really good. And I feel like, in a way, that little inner bitch voice feels so when it's there. Like you can live 10 or 12 or 14 hours of your day without feeling it at all. And the second you hear it, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
It can't be mistaken for anything else. So, getting back now to what you're saying, discipline, I feel like discipline is a learned and trained behavior, whereas motivation is inept. Like motivation, sometimes we see something that motivates us and you feel good for a little while, but discipline is a constant. And discipline is a skill.
Yeah.
You have to learn it. And the way that I've been training my discipline is by making it like an internal battle against that inner bitch voice.
Yeah.
Like the second I hear it, I know, okay, armed and ready. Let's nip this in the bud right now,
Yeah.
because I know that if I let that voice go, then it's like that cat that, comes in and I'm stuck then. I can't move any further. And I know it sounds very dramatic, but the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I have watched myself for many years put things off. And I mean, the basic things like the question that always makes you feel bad about fitness specifically is people saying, imagine how far you would be if you had started the first time you said you wanted to get fit. Like, I probably for the first time ever noticed I was getting a bit pudgy like three months into university. If I had started then at my current rate of intensity, I would be a Adonis right now.
Jacked.
I mean, I would be jacked.
Yeah.
I would look fantastic right now, but I'm not, because I didn't stick with it. I didn't go through with it.
The big thing is like
learning discipline has been like my theme so far.
A very sort of crazy thought, but something that really changes the game is you need to disassociate from your brain and your thoughts and sort of picture yourself as being two entities. You have a brain that controls a lot of things, but you have a being outside of that. You are a person outside of that. And how that is practical is your brain and your thoughts are constantly thinking negative things, saying negative things. As soon as you notice that, and notice that there's something in you saying these things, and you disassociate from it, you realize, but this isn't me. That's not who I am.
Yeah, you need to be self-aware.
There's something else trying to talk to you, but as soon as you just notice it, you realize, oh, but my mind has just wandered off into a different. It's taken the wrong route, but I'm still okay. And that's when your brain starts to talk those things of like, don't go there, don't go gym, because you're trying to conserve energy or whatever. As soon as you notice it and you realize, okay, but I still have control. I don't need to be controlled by that. Everything starts changing. For me, it's been with my anxiety has gone down. I don't stress about things anymore because my mind used to run at 1,000 miles per hour, creating all these scenarios, thoughts, and things. And now, as soon as, again, that inner bitch, as soon as I hear it, I disassociate from it. It's almost that saying of like looking from the outside in. I see myself thinking this thought, but the person that's standing outside is making the decisions now. It's like, he's taking me by the hand and let's go gym, so that this dude inside can't take control. And there's a whole lot of books and studies about it. Even Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is like, the man who controls his mind will control his life or whatever. Although I found out he was a bit of a scam artist as well. But a lot of these things and the preachers of it and people who have reached success and who have cultivated discipline talk about the same thing: is you can't let your mind control who you are, because that is not you. It's a different entity to who you really are. So if you want to change your life this year, take control of your mind. Actually do something about that. And monitor your thoughts, control your thoughts.
It's like, did you ever watch that movie Inside Out?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
When
like
you were talking about Big Mouth, I was thinking about that.
Yeah. It's like Inside Out, Inside Out has a similar thing, is that everyone's personality is made up of like a panel of emotions in your head, and they just turn the cranks, and they all have different ways of doing things. And it really, I mean, these are all like, human now personifications of the human experience, but it really does feel like that sometimes. It feels like this. It feels like there's separate. I'm gonna sound like a schizophrenic, but it feels like there's separate people in my head who all have different ways of doing things, and who all want control of the wheel. And but that's the thing: is me as JC, my only role is that I get to decide who takes the wheel at any given time. Like that's pretty much all I get to do. Is I get to decide who takes control. And it's very easy and rewarding in the short term to let the laziness and the inner bitch take control, because that that's going to lead to you. I mean, my favorite is to get a pizza and some cookies, pizza cookies, and so a big glass of Coke Zero with ice. Sit down.
Wow, Coke Zero with ice with the pizza and the cookies. Yeah.
Sit down, TV, and then I'll watch like some. I love documentaries. So I'll watch like some documentary for like 2 hours, long documentary. that there is the chill day.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful, not sustainable. You can't do that multiple times a week.
No.
You know, terrible. Too much money
sounds
spent.
horrible. Yeah.
But that's the easiest possible route. What I don't want to do really is go train hard, eat frozen veggies and lentils, and that's not what I really want to do. But it's what's good. So it's sort of like you just have to. It's a constant
battle.
Yeah, it's a constant battle.
But the more you cultivate discipline, the more space it takes up in your head, and it shoves those different personalities out. Whereas the overriding control becomes discipline, not anger, not anxiety, not frustration, not sadness, not procrastination. Discipline starts to take over, and as soon as anxiety wants to just touch a button, discipline, stay away. We this is what we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we do
and
now.
It's like training a muscle as well. Like if you think about it, that little voice that wants you to just relax and so on, it's like a little character that can be trained and can get stronger and can get better at fighting and so on. And if you just let that one win every time, it's after a while you're not going to have any control anymore.
It's going to level up.
Exactly,
it's going to level up.
And by doing exactly the opposite, by doing the hard thing every single time, and you're basically training and leveling up the little drill sergeant, the guy who controls the discipline and who controls the good stuff, the well-being.
Yeah.
That guy, you can level up too. And then every day when it's time to be when it's time to do the hard thing, those two little characters have a quick fight. And if the one is way stronger than the other, it's going to be a quick and easy fight, and it's going to be over.
Yeah.
And if the one that's really strong is the discipline side, I feel like you're going to have a pretty good life because you're going to be able to make the right decision more easily and with less dread and anguish. Because you sometimes when you aren't in a habit, you dread doing hard things. It's like it just sucks. And that's a really negative emotion. But the more you do it, the less dread there is every time.
You start getting excited about
it. Eventually, there's no dread left.
You get excited about going to the gym. I get excited about being able to prep my food on a Sunday or whatever because I know that it benefits me. I know that if I do this right, by the end of the week, I will feel better. And I also know that in December, I spend about 5,500 rands on Uber Eats. This month, January, I've spent like 400 rand.
It's 5.5K.
5.5K.
How much?
I'm not trying to flex.
I'm
not trying to flex. I spend close to 3K a month. I used to.
No, I'm talking per meal. Per
meal, you're looking at about 250, 200 bucks.
So we're talking like four times a week on average.
Yeah.
That's hectic.
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
What I love usually is like a Rocco Mama's burger with chips and wings.
I see.
I'll have 8 wings, small chips, and a burger. Pizzas. I'll have a pizza. Some days I'd wake up, get McDonald's, get lunch like maybe Nando's, and at night get a pizza as well.
Holy shit!
But that's at sort of the height. That's the opposite end of the scale.
Of it, yeah.
And obviously, when I'm like working in Cape Town, I don't always have food readily available. I didn't have time to cook, so I live off of Uber Eats for a long time. But that is also just being lazy. That's just like not having discipline, not having sort of a plan to fix this. And that's how I end up spending $5K a month on Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We should be sponsored by Uber Eats at this point. All of the money. And now they send me like 3 emails a day.
Yeah.
Because they know I used to be a loyal customer.
Prime customers.
They've lost like 50K in revenue per year just because I'm not there anymore.
No, it's really it's true. Uber Eats.
I should be embarrassed about this.
I don't do Uber Eats. I do Mr. D.
Oh yeah.
And Mr. D as well. Their marketing is so clever. Like they will analyze you and know exactly what you looked at, how long you looked at it for, what you.
It's almost like a sexy singles in your area, except it's like sexy KFC burgers and twisters.
It's like they will find you. They know you. Like the algorithms know you a lot better than you know yourself. And sometimes I'll be sitting there on like a Friday at 4 and I'm thinking, yes, good week, booked, lacquer week. And I'll think, I'm so keen for like a burger, like a Macca's, like a McDonald's veggie burger right now with some hot sauce. That would slap. and then within moments,
Yep.
get free delivery
Because
today
they know
on McDonald's.
when
exactly. They
you
know when you want
normally go
certain
towards
things.
that. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's brilliant. I love McDonald's. Veggie burgers are always a winner. I love Nando's.
Nando's is
Nando's is my top. I said to my father the other day, because I'm now...
But do you eat chicken?
No.
So you take the veggie pizza
Yeah.
or whatever?
So Nando's has a veggie wrap, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
And then they also have a veggie burger, which isn't bad either.
Yeah.
But I usually take the veggie wrap. And they've got vegan peronaise now as well.
Oh, cool.
Which makes it so much better also.
I'm thinking about getting back onto like a half 50-50 plant-based.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Let me know if you need any help with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nando's is my favorite because I love hot sauce.
Yeah.
Like spicy sauce, anything spicy I love. And then there was one more thing that I now wanted to mention. No, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So those are like my go-tos. However, I mean, recently I don't like meal prepping too far in advance because I really enjoy cooking. Like cooking is a great pastime for me, and I like to also decide on the day what I'm keen for. But now the thing is that can get a little bit risky, right? However, what I've recently noticed, my best friend are those little boxes. I don't know what the brand is, but it's these little boxes of spice mixes. They have at Woolworths or Checkers or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like meal solution, and it'll be like taco spice or korma spice or Thai spice or Chinese spice or whatever. And you buy all of them. Like get yourself one of each, okay? Then you go and I get myself these big bags of mixed veggies that have lots of different veggies in big variety. And whatever spice I add completely changes the way it tastes.
Yeah.
And entirely. It's like a different meal completely. Yeah. So I can have 5 or 6 different meals in a week, all just based on veggies, and it's great. So I really do love that. That's like that's my go-to healthy meal, is get some veggies, pop them in a pot or on a stir fry, start them up, and then I go and I like make a decision. I look at my spices and I go, my list for like that Mexican flavor today. Do I want to have like a Chinese bowl with some noodles? Like what am I keen for? But the base is always the same. So you say you've been eating the same thing every morning as well.
Yeah, just because I love cooking as well. But if I'm working from home, then in the morning I'll just have my oats or whatever, maybe a smoothie. Then lunchtime I'll make something. That takes about an hour, if not more. Plus now I just got back from the gym. I'm lazy. Making food. Afterwards I'm more tired. And then I just sit for like half an hour doing nothing until I get myself, okay, let's work again. Let's go. Then I work for like 3 hours and then I need to start making food again for dinner. And then that takes like an hour and a half plus eating. And then it's already 8 o'clock. So for me, it's mostly a time thing. It's just, I can save myself up to 2, maybe 3 hours a day just by not cooking all my meals. And it's just easier for me then to track exactly what I'm getting into my body, my macros, my calories, all of that stuff. It's easier to control it. And it takes me like an hour and a half on a Sunday, a couple of chicken breasts. So I'll have like every second I'll cook something fresh just for a lunch or maybe a dinner, so it doesn't get too monotonous and sort of, before I get too bored with it. But it's really made life a lot simpler and a lot easier because I don't have to think about it as well. And I don't have to go do some shopping to go get some new things. So all in all, within a week, I probably save about 10 hours by not having to cook so many times throughout the day or throughout the week. 10 hours a week spent on the right things. By the end of the year, that's, quite a lot.
Great.
And it helps me aid my health goals so that's actually the biggest motivator, is to have food readily available, to have it there in the fridge. Now, if I don't eat that today, it's going to go off. So let me eat that. And by that, I just cancel out the Uber Eats. I don't spend any money on that. I've got food there, because that's usually sort of the problem is you get home, you're hungry, you've had a long day, there's nothing to eat in the fridge. Uber Eats. Yeah. Now it's like you open the fridge, fucking chicken again. But at least I have it, and then you just, that sort of overrides your choices.
What are you having? Chicken and rice.
Chicken, rice, and then I have a mix of veg of like eggplant, bit of peppers, some onions, and a bit of spices.
Do you have spice for rice? Have you tried it?
Mm-mm.
Oh my word! I'm about to change your life.
Oh, for real?
Spice for rice.
Yeah.
Spice for rice is it might be the best spice ever invented.
For real?
Like the best single spice. It's so cheap. You go to Robinson's, you get those refill packs, which will last you like multiple weeks. Mix in like a teaspoon or less of that stuff with a big bowl of rice. Adds 0 calories, 0 sodium, nothing. I guarantee you will genuinely look forward to eating that rice.
It's like spicy
Dude,
thing? Is
no.
it sweet?
It's like,
Is it...
it's like, you know how it's like just flavor. It's like full just flavor. Like imagine the flavor of a really good curry that doesn't have any spiciness in it. So like just all of the flavor. So good. Everyone I've introduced to spice for rice has never looked back.
Oh, for real?
It is the best. It's fantastic because I know what you're eating because Michael eats it too.
Yeah.
He eats just chicken broccoli rice, like day in, day out. I've seen my brother start to make up the weirdest food combinations just to try and get some flavor. I've watched him eat chicken and guava before. I have sat and seen him have chicken and guava.
Wow.
Which is disgusting, of course. Yeah. So I know, but get that little bit of just spice rice, mix it in. The rice will taste incredible.
So much better. Oh,
like you could have that rice as a meal that you serve to people, and they'd be like, "Damn, this slaps."
No, I'll definitely check that out.
I'll give you a packet now, and you can take it home and tell me what you think. I have like a few boxes covered. Okay, listen, I want to talk to you about something. So, last time we did a podcast, it's actually been quite a while.
Yeah.
It's been months. I mean, we've seen each other loads in between, you know, doing things together. But in that time, your life has changed a lot. I remember last time when we sat down, you were sort of feeling a little bit pessimistic to some extent. Yeah. And I remember you were saying that, you know, you feel like you've come to a certain place in your acting where you were sort of unsure about whether or not there was still a really solid future for you in the industry. You were talking about whether you felt as if you had hit a bit of a ceiling that you couldn't pass in the South African market. And you were talking about, you know, maybe pursuing other avenues, but I don't feel like it was coming from a good place. It wasn't coming from, I want to pursue new things because that's what I'm into. It was sort of, I want to pursue new things because I feel like I've done all I could here.
Yeah.
However, I do know that your life seems to have improved a lot.
Yeah.
Just based on my chats with you about the same topic over the course of a few months. So talk to me, give me a little bit of a progress report. Yeah. Tell me a little bit how your life has improved over the past 6 months.
Yeah, so I guess in hindsight, that time I was still filled with a lot of doubt. A lot of doubt in myself, whether I had enough ability and enough talent, and a lot of doubt whether there would be a place in South Africa for actors, because the market was sort of in a weird space where you were either on Kykenet doing Afrikaans work, or you were on SABC 1, 2, 3 and Mzansi Magic doing English work, but that was predominantly sort of for Zulu shows, maybe Sotho shows, more black shows, right? Centered around black stories. And that made it very difficult for just white English actors to sort of find a space, right? And over the past 2 years, the content landscape has changed so much. There's a lot more integration between, we now have stories centered around a whole bunch of cultures and a whole bunch of different races. So now there's opportunities for white, black, Indian, Asian actors all to be in the same show. And you can speak a bit of Afrikaans and you can speak a bit of English, you can speak a bit of Zulu. That whole game has changed since then. And I guess before as well. And now I've found myself in the mix of that world, where I didn't think I would find a space. So I started on a show called Legacy, which is on Mnet. Not a big role. Things sort of didn't exactly work out as it was planned because of a whole bunch of challenges, but I had a little role there. So it started out there. Obviously, Blood and Water season 2 came out again. That cracked the top 10 in the world. Did extremely well again. Got great responses from that. That leveled up my sort of my profile a bit again. And we're still waiting to find out about a third season, but things are sort of looking good at this point. And then while I was still in the midst of all of that, I got a role on a new show called Recipes for Love and Murder, which is coming out this year in, I think, March. And I had a big role on that. And it's an English show. It's going to be on Mnet. Once again, it's this mixture of a whole bunch of different characters with different backgrounds, different stories, different languages. It's a beautiful South African story. And my perception of all of this has changed completely. I'm extremely optimistic now because, first of all, I found belief in myself that I do have talent, I do have a space that I can go to, and that the right roles and the right stories will find me. Whereas I think back then I was so anxious about the future because you don't have control over it. I've learned to just care about the things that I have control over. That's changed. And the fact that just Showmax is creating a lot more original content. Mnet is creating a lot more original content. These shows are all being made in South Africa and now they're being distributed overseas as well. So a lot more opportunity has opened up for actors in an English world and in South Africa. And hopefully that continues. That remains to be seen. I wouldn't say I'm skeptical about it, but there have been quite a few challenges for these shows with the channel or the network giving them quite a good budget, but then them not receiving the audience or not capturing the audience that they should, the size of it at least. Because I think a lot of people still sort of have a mistrust of local content just because of what they've been fed for so many years. They'd rather watch something from America, something from overseas, instead of supporting a local show. So that will still have to play out and see if that's sustainable. But right now in this moment, I'm at a very good place where I'm getting roles. People are excited to work with me. I'm excited to work, and it's sort of renewed my love and my passion for it. And like I said, I think the biggest shift was just sort of clearing up my mind and getting into a better mind frame. Because from where we were there, me sort of not believing in things, me not having the faith that things are going to work out, you can't operate from a place of that, or place like that. So right now, I'm very optimistic. I'm trusting the process, trusting the journey, and letting it all play out, while at the same time working on my other projects. That's something that's never going to change. Like I said earlier, is I like doing different things, and I need to do that to stay motivated, to stay excited, to keep on, to keep the enthusiasm, basically. But what's happened now, it's given me a lot more confidence to actually try these other ventures and go for it and still enjoy the acting, working hard at that, getting new opportunities, but feeding these side projects at the same time. So yeah, things have, it's actually crazy to think about. I think the question we sort of had was, is there a future for young actors in South Africa? And again, it's difficult to say 5 years from now, but right now we are in a very good space, and there's a lot happening. There's a lot of new shows being produced, and a lot of opportunities at the moment. So yes, I think there is, at least there's a future for me, it seems, at this point. And it could also be, I mean, I'm not oblivious to the fact that I am moving into sort of a good space age-wise for the right characters. Maybe I am sort of going into a peak right now, and I still do believe there's a ceiling that eventually will come. But I'm just riding the wave at this point and enjoying it and not thinking too much about that. Yeah.
Are you still sort of eyeing maybe moving into international spaces?
So yes, but I'm doing it locally. I'm planning on moving to Cape Town by July this year. And that's the main purpose of that, is because there's so many international things being shot that side. I need to get into that space and try my hand at it. So this year is all about like perfecting my accent, getting a lot of new skills down, becoming a more rounded actor, and then moving to Cape Town and giving it my best shot that side to try and see, because that's a whole different world. It's like we've got our local industry, but that's something else. I mean, when the travel ban was put in place at the end of last year, when we were put on the red list, there was a statistic about, I think, 470 million rands worth of film industry jobs were cancelled, or had to be cancelled for that 3-month period.
Shit.
It's a R500 million of work that was supposed to happen, while another 620 million rands worth of work was quoted. So you're looking at like R1 billion industry, if not more, just happening in Cape Town with internationals coming in. And so if you can just get in there, get a little piece of that pie, that's life-changing. Getting in there, very difficult. It's not that easy, but I'm feeling very positive, just because now I've found confidence in myself. I've got faith, and I know that I work hard and what I can bring to the table. So now it's just committing to it, actually packing my stuff, moving to Cape Town, and getting it started that side, which is a fun new journey. It feels like so this year is also 10 years since I started acting. This is my 10th year since the first day I walked onto set. And it feels like there's a renewal happening at the moment in my career, like moving into a new sphere. And yeah, the international market is definitely part of the plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. How does Iluska feel about you moving to Cape Town?
We moving down to Cape Town.
Oh shit! That's congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope that goes really nicely.
It's gonna go well. It will. Yeah. A lot of planning still left, but we're moving.
Okay, I want to ask you something. So you've mentioned a couple times over the course of the podcast so far about dealing with anxiety as well, and this is not something I've ever really experienced, and it's not something that I really understand either. Would you sort of talk me through how does anxiety sort of manifest itself in your day to day?
So
and what did it take to sort of overcome that as well?
So, I mean, for different people, it's going to have a different outcome. And with me, it's difficult because doing a job like being an actor, standing in front of a camera with 60 people behind it, and you need to remember lines or what. For most people, that's an anxiety-filled activity. I don't feel it. Like when I'm on set, I don't have any stress. I don't have anxiety. I enjoy it. I have fun. When I'm busy organizing a shoot and someone sends me a message just to find out about the time, for some reason I get anxiety because I need to give them an answer. And it's been happening with a lot of things. Let's say I need to make a reservation at a restaurant for me and my girlfriend. The thought of phoning someone and them picking up and I have to speak to them was causing me anxiety, because I was thinking of so many scenarios in my head of like how it's going to play out, what's going to happen, that I would start getting anxious about it. And those are the small things. The bigger things were like, I spoke about the goal of having like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? As soon as you start thinking about all the steps you need to take, I would get extremely anxious, because it's like, okay, I need to find 1 day a week where I can shoot this and I can edit it, but I need to get it out every week. And what if I'm in Cape Town and I'm shooting this and I don't have time to shoot this? And how am I actually going to get from 100 subscribers to there and no one's watching my video? There's only 20 people watching my video and I just spent like 8 hours on this. Nothing's going to work out. Why am I doing this? What is the point of life? That's literally how my mind would operate. And you can hear when I start talking like that, I think a lot of people will already start feeling that anxiety of like, just fucking slow down, please. And the root of all of it was just overthinking. It's like as soon as I get a new business idea, instead of just thinking of the first step is like, just register the company and just set up a business plan if you want to. And that's the first thing you need to do. You start thinking about, okay, I'll need to get an accountant. I need to get someone who's going to work that. What if I start making money and now all of a sudden I've got this responsibility towards clients, but then I can't fulfill it. You worry about all these things instead of just looking at the first step. And what changed all of that for me was reading The Power of Now. And that's also where I was talking about disassociating from your brain, right? So now every time my brain starts thinking that thought of like, or starts overthinking, I immediately look at myself from an outside perspective of like, dude, just chill. This isn't you. Your brain, let your brain run around or whatever. Don't mind it too much. And as soon as you think of or become aware of the thought, it just stops. It like everything slows down. So my biggest challenge of every day now is to just take it one step at a time. There's this whole story about like when you're in a forest and it starts snowing and you need to get through the forest and you don't know how to get to the other side. You can't be worried about that getting there. It's just like, can you see right in front of you? Can you take one more step? Just take one more step. And that's what I'm trying to do now. It's like I'm writing a book.
Oh shit!
I'm writing a book, but it's not like it's for actors. It's a guide, sort of a practical guide for actors. And when I first had the thought, it's like, how am I going to start writing a book of like 150 pages? And literally, the whole process has just been, just write a little something every day. Just go. And it's been like 3 weeks, and I'm almost done. Almost done with the book. Almost ready to start editing and get it out and get it sort of published. But usually I would start with the idea, I would think about the end result, and there would be a million thoughts running from start to finish, and I just would never start because the mountains seem just too big to climb. And that's anxiety for a lot of people, is that you get so swept up in your thoughts and overthinking and overcomplicating things that you just never get started with it. Like calling someone just to find out if you can book a table for two. You start thinking about all these different things, and what if I can't hear what they're saying? Like, and then I look stupid because I'm saying something, but that's not what they heard. And what if they don't take bookings? Like, are they gonna think I'm stupid now because I've just stupid thoughts that you have that are so unnecessary, and that's how sort of anxiety manifested. But I think I haven't felt anxiety once this year.
Good on you, man.
I spent probably the last 10 years every day filled with anxiety. I had a little like breakdown last year, an anxiety attack for the first time, and I never realized I had such a problem with it, but it's been so enlightening and rewarding not to feel that way anymore. I can actually just enjoy life, and it's all about just the power of now. It's just worrying about this moment right now. And the question I ask myself is just, what is wrong right now while I'm sitting here? What is wrong? Literally nothing is wrong. Like, I've got food, I can move, my body works, I'm having fun, we're having a good chat, I don't have anything stressing me right now, nothing is wrong. And every time I start to feel sort of uneasy, I just ask that question, and that just levels everything out. Because your anxiety also causes you not to be present in the moment, but also not to notice the good things you have in your life. Almost sort of goes towards a depression thing where you believe everything is bad in your life. You don't see the good in life just because you're running over there while life is happening over here. So coming back to just this point is a very it gives you a lot of freedom.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You must have had a great life not to have any anxiety. Yes.
No, I mean, I have. I mean, when you're talking about this sort of thing, I have anxiety in moments. I wouldn't I wouldn't say to people I have an anxiety issue or whatever. Sometimes I feel a little bit out of my depth, and that's when I will become anxious. So, for example, with podcasts, I always feel anxious while I'm setting up the audio, like always.
Yeah.
And it's not because I think something's going to go wrong with the audio. The thoughts I'm having is this podcast is going to be shit. Like, this is going to be rubbish.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we start talking, that goes away because I love conversing with people. I love chatting, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
But there are a few minutes, like between, like when you arrive at the place, hey, Arno, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm
Your
thinking,
mind
like,
is
does
just
he
like-
think I'm being super awkward?
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking that, like, as soon as we put this off and you and I go for lunch, that's going to be gone.
Yeah.
I'm never going to think that again. But what I'm worried about when you rock up here, and I'm thinking, is Arno thinking I'm being awkward right now? And is that going to affect the quality of the podcast? That's where it comes in for me. So sometimes I feel a little bit out of my depth when it comes to something which is far removed from what my skill set generally is. Because this podcast, even though I think I'm a generally all right conversationalist, this is not, like, I haven't been trained for this. I just bought some stuff and started.
Yeah.
I didn't go and no one has taught me how. I don't have a mentor. I have no official guideline on how to do this.
Yeah.
I just sort of looked at people. I thought that's pretty cool. I want to do that, and then I started. So sometimes there are some questions about whether I'm doing things the right way. But then when it comes to other things like business, I feel very confident.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to the businesses I'm running with some of my partners and different, when it comes to making money, I feel very confident.
Yeah, because you know and understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. However, I should say, I graduated from the university at the end of last year. And I started sending out my CV almost immediately. It's now probably been about 6 weeks, and I'm still unemployed.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I know that, so I was in the gym the other day, and I went to the steam room, and I sat down, and this other guy came in, and he struck up a conversation with me, and we started chatting. And he's this engineer and so on. And he says to me, what do you do? And I say, I've actually just graduated from university. I've started sending out my CV to try and get a job. This has happened, I think, 4 times now. Is nobody says, that's great, man. Congratulations. What are you looking? No one says that. People say, don't give up. It might take months to find a job, but don't give up. It can be difficult. It can be frustrating. Just keep trying, man. You'll get there.
Yeah.
And it's given me so much, it's made me realize that I have so desperately underestimated the problem with jobs in this country.
Yeah, employment, yeah.
The other day, this restaurant/market just down the road, they put up an ad on LinkedIn for a position, retail manager, right up my alley. Okay? This is I would be great at this job. Put up this position, retail manager, apply. My CV, I fine-tuned it, perfect, sent it in. I saw it an hour after they posted it, and I submitted my CV. 3 days later, I decided to go check up, see if there's any news, because I'm not really used to LinkedIn, so I don't know if I'm supposed to double check or anything.
Yeah.
I go to that same job post. Within 3 days, they had 120 applicants. Okay? Now, this is a job for a retail manager at a tiny little vegan market in the middle of Bedfordview, which is already not like some big industrial CBD. And you have over 100 people in 3 days applying for that same position. And I didn't get it, just as I haven't gotten anything that I've applied for thus far. And I have to tell you, there is something within me that's starting to feel a little bit anxious. Because it's now, it's been just over a month now. That engineering guy in the gym told me that it took him 5 months. He's an engineer with a master's. Okay, it took him 5 months to find a job at a company.
Yeah.
Starting to feel a little bit, it's like tick, 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 time's going. And I'm keeping myself very busy. I've taken the other businesses that I run, which have up until now been side businesses, and this year I have so far given them my all. And it's showing in rands and cents. These businesses are suddenly exploding.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 months down the line, these businesses are doing so well that I don't even need the job, and
Yeah.
I'll just do that. And that would be great. But there's a part of me, I mean, my father has been working in retail and wholesale of foodstuffs his entire life.
Sure.
I mean, since he was younger than me, he started at Woolworths, then he went to Food Lovers Market, then he went to Pick and Pay, then he went to Famous Brands, and now he's at Walmart. So he's been like bouncing around this space. He knows everyone.
Yeah.
He knows everything. And I know that my dad can get me a job. Like, I know that if I just say to him, listen, I can't find a job, please help me out, he'll phone someone and something will happen and I'll be in my uniform the following Monday. But there's a really big part of me that wants to get it on my own and wants to not have him get me the job. I want to get it based on my own merit. But then I was talking to Freek the other day on the phone, and I was talking to him about this and said, like, I'm starting to feel a little bit anxious because with every day that goes by, I'm feeling more guilty. Like, I feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, if I asked my dad today, I could have a job by Monday. But that's not the way I want to do it. But if I keep delaying it, every month that goes by is another month I could have been working if I just sucked up my courage and asked my dad.
Yeah.
And Freek said to me, he said, you know what, man? I think you're just full of shit. This whole shame thing that you have around asking your dad to help you is bullshit. Just ask him to help you, and you can prove your salt on the job.
Yeah.
Because you're not helping anyone being unemployed.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that a lot since that phone conversation. But yeah, that's as close, I think, as I've got.
What is the root of why you don't want to ask your dad?
I want to have.
I know why I would do the same, but what is it for you? Do you care? And be honest about it. Do you care about the fact that people are going to know that that's how you got the job? Is it just your own ego of like you want to feel like you accomplished it?
Yeah. So you know what? My girlfriend, I'm supposed to be the entrepreneur guy, right? I studied this. I've been running businesses since I came out of high school. This is my thing. My girlfriend has out-earned me with her tutoring company over the past 3 years. This is not what she does.
Yeah.
She started it as a side thing because she speaks 5 languages.
Yeah.
So she decided to just make a little quick, easy website and have people go to her and do that. What that means is that my girlfriend stopped taking money from her parents a very long time ago. Similarly, my business partners have both stopped taking money from their parents in the past 6 months. Okay, I haven't yet. I'm not there yet. I still get like pocket money every month from my parents, which I then put towards my expenses and stuff. And even though it's become a supplement to my overall income, I'm still taking money from my parents, and I still feel guilty about that. And I there's a certain level of guilt for me that comes with having a life where things are handed to you. I would prefer to have earned things on my own. So the thing is that getting this job will probably be the last big leg up my father can ever give me.
Yeah.
Because once I've got the job, he's not going to ever be able to help me get a promotion or help me transfer or help me become successful. From there on, it's the end.
Yeah.
But neither of my best mates, and they both have jobs now, have gotten their jobs based on help from their parents. Both of them got their jobs based on their merit. And I think that has put a certain pressure on me to be able to do the same thing. And I'm not saying it's like a negative, like a peer pressure. It's like I want to live up to their example. And I want to live up to the example of the people around me who have managed to accomplish the thing that I'm currently struggling with on their own. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, but I would say, so no one gets anywhere in life without a bit of help from their networks, right? And maybe you start out, you get your job, and then only you start building your networks, right? And obviously, seeing your parents as your network is it's a very weird concept. But I know for a fact that there's about 3 jobs I can identify now that I've had in past few years that happened because of people that I knew. So now, had I been full of pride or my ego came in the way, I would have said, no, I can't do this because I know you and you organize this and whatever. And that's no different than having people in your family help you out. At the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to just your own perception, and are you going to worry about like your friends? What are they going to say? Maybe there's going to be a couple of jokes here and there, whatever. But the other side is true of like, you're not helping anyone by being unemployed. If the option is there, maybe it is something you should explore. And yeah, that's something you need to figure out for yourself. But in my little book for actors as well, I have a whole chapter about networking, right? And when I was 21, made a decision of not hanging out with a lot of industry people because I didn't want to suck up, because I didn't want to pretend to be friends with people just to get opportunities, whatever. Meanwhile, I had good friends and I could just hang out with them, but I avoided it because like I didn't want people to think, oh, you're only getting jobs now because you hang out with them or you're friends with them, whatever. And so many of those actors went on to do incredible things just because of being in that network. Now, if I didn't let my ego get in the way, maybe I would have taken that journey with them as well. But I held myself back for a long while just because of not wanting to engage, not wanting to use the things that I have to my advantage. And at the end of the day, people will say, yeah, it's privilege and it's this or that, whatever. That's out of your hands. You don't have any control over that. The only control you have is that you need a job right now. So what can you do to actually get a job? The reality in South Africa is that unemployment is at a very high rate. It's difficult to get a job. And it could take you another year and a half. When are you actually going to make a decision to say, okay, this is enough now? And then, yeah, by that time, let's say it's been 2 years, then by that time, you're not going to say, oh, shit, luckily I can do it now. You're going to say, shit, I should have done it back then. Not encouraging anything that you should do this, but you shouldn't let unnecessary things get in the way of that. If you make that decision of, listen, man, I'm going to do this by myself, stick to it and make peace with it, and that is what it is. But don't be afraid to utilize the advantages you have. You know, I've often wondered about this thing. I remember when I was younger, I would get mad when I would get jealous of my friends' parents who had a lot of money and who were successful and whatever, because I would always think like, yes, yeah, you guys just get everything and whatever. But the whole point of being a parent is to create a good life, not just for you, but for your children as well. And me getting jealous about that's just my own insecurity. That's my own problems. Like, that's exactly what your parents should do, is try and help you wherever they can. And obviously not just give you stuff. I mean, you've proven that you do a lot of things. You're proactive. You've got ambition. You've got passion. If you had just been lying on the couch every day doing nothing, finishing your studies, okay, here's a job, here's a nice car, here's everything, that's a different story. But in your case specifically, you work hard, you look for opportunities, you try and make things happen. So it's not a wasted opportunity on you if your parents try and give you a better life. So there needs to be a distinction just between those two. But yeah, that's a nice realization I've had over the past couple of years, is like, it's a good thing when your parents try and help you. It's a good thing when they try and support you financially, or they try and give you opportunities to enhance your life. That shouldn't, like, no one should be mad about that. That's their job, is to try and help you. So yeah, that's my few cents on that topic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I think you've given me something to think about. All right, we're out of time.
It's been 2 hours.
2 hours and 3 minutes. All right, Arno, please tell my enormous expansive network.
Is this my time to plug?
Where to find your tiny little Instagram page.
So right now on Instagram, I've got 75,000. Got a couple of followers on Instagram. You can join me there. I'm heavy on YouTube this year, as we've mentioned in this podcast.
Do the YouTube, yes, YouTube.
Yeah.
Everyone go.
Just Arno Greeff. Just go check it out there. I'm posting every week.
Good quality stuff.
I've got a new series coming out in March called Recipes for Love and Murder. That's going to be on Mnet. Not sure about which days yet, so just keep an eye out on my socials for that. And that's it. Yeah. Oh, and every now and then I make a TikTok, so you'll probably see that somewhere as well.
Right. Thank you very much for listening to the Groundfall podcast. Thank you, Arno, for being back again.
Thank you, JC. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was fun. And cheers.
Cheers.